Our topic today is artificial intelligence. It's a very timely topic. It's a fascinating topic, but it's a dangerous topic. And we will take a look at different aspects of this topic from three different perspectives. First, we will take a look at scientific intelligence. Then we'll take a look at philosophical intelligence. Then we'll take a look at theological intelligence. And then artificial intelligence itself and what possibilities there are in the future for the continued evolution of artificial intelligence in terms of science and technology. I want to begin by saying that any interpretation of intelligence needs to take seriously two different frameworks: a cosmic perspective and the evolution framework. Now, these two viewpoints are very important because one must understand that the human being and intelligence, and in the future, artificial intelligence, this all occurs in the universe. So intelligence is a product of and will continue to evolve in this universe. So we need to see this in terms of a cosmic perspective, which includes billions of galaxies, each with billions of planets. And where do we, our species, intelligence and artificial intelligence fit into this cosmic perspective? The second perspective is the evolution framework. The universe is the result of evolution. The planet has given rise to the evolution of life, the evolution of our species, and now the evolution of intelligence, and in the future, the continued evolution of artificial intelligence, probably beyond the Earth, as our species explores our solar system and then elsewhere. So we always want to keep in mind a cosmic perspective and the evolution framework. Now, to begin our story, let us take a careful look at the contributions of the scientist Charles Darwin. He had a remarkable scientific intelligence. Darwin was particularly interested in geology. Then he became interested in biology and anthropology and even psychology. Darwin is so important for the modern world because he was the scientific father of organic evolution, which influences everything, including intelligence and the future of artificial intelligence. Now, how did Charles Darwin develop this theory that is so pervasive in modern thought? There were three influences on Charles Darwin. One, Principles of Geology, the major 3-volume work by Sir Charles Lyell, which Darwin read during the voyage of the HMS Beagle. Secondly, the journey of the HMS Beagle itself, particularly its visit to the Galapagos Islands. And thirdly, Darwin's reading Mendel. Why Lyell is so important, and perhaps the most important influence on Darwin, is because Lyell, the geologist, you could say the father of modern geology, Lyell realized that our planet is not just thousands of years old, but millions of years old. So Lyell gave to Charles Darwin this sweeping geological framework within which the history of life took place. As the voyage continued and Darwin read all 3 volumes, he accepted Lyell's geological perspective. Now, during the voyage, Darwin, as a biologist, collected specimens of plants and animals. He also collected geological specimens. The most important part of the trip was his visit to the Galapagos Islands. Darwin was interested in the formation of mountain ranges. He was interested in the formation of oceanic islands. But when he got to the Galapagos archipelago, he was there 5 weeks, he noticed that from island to island, the size and shape of the beaks of the finches varied. So he knew that species are variable, that they change through time. And when he studied the rock strata with its fossil record, he realized that through geological time, biological species have changed. When he got back to England after the voyage, he read Mendel's work on population, and he became convinced from reading Mendel that the primary cause of evolution is natural selection. Species vary, and through time, some species are selected for and some species are selected against existing. Over 20 years, Darwin brought all of his facts and his concepts and these relationships in the natural world together in his major book on the origin of species, 1859. It was a revolution in scientific thought. Instead of people thinking of the world in terms of fixity, they now thought of the world in terms of change. Darwin was a materialist. He didn't believe in any spiritual or metaphysical influences on the world. Evolution was a natural process. As a result of organic evolution, primates appeared, including, and especially important to us, the apes, the orangutan, the gorilla, the chimpanzee, and the bonobo. And Darwin realized that in the evolution of primates, which continued in the evolution of our species, Homo sapiens sapiens, intelligence appeared. So Darwin was aware of the evolution of life. He was aware of the evolution of our species. He became more and more aware of the evolution of intelligence. But Darwin was not interested in the future of our species. He was particularly concerned with collecting evidence to support the mutability of species in his theory, as he called it, descent with modification. Now, Darwin had an enormous influence on other thinkers, particularly the German thinker, Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche read Darwin. Nietzsche accepted Darwin's evolution framework. Nietzsche was interested in human intelligence, but Nietzsche was not a Darwinist. No, Nietzsche did not understand or accept, although he probably understood it, he didn't accept natural selection as the cause. Now, Nietzsche called for a reevaluation of all values, and he believed that the universe was ultimately a will to power. Nietzsche was not a materialist like Darwin. He was a vitalist. He believed as a vitalist that there was an invisible force, a metaphysical principle, causing evolution. And through time, this process of evolution had brought about our species. Our species emerged, Nietzsche thought, out of the fossil apes of the remote past. And Nietzsche thought that our species would evolve into a superior being in the future. This superior being, which we will call the overbeing, collectively the overbeings of the future, was a result, Nietzsche thought, of the continuation of the evolution of intelligence. Intelligence for Nietzsche had evolved from the apes of the past to Homo sapiens of the present into what he called the overbeings of the future. This was a sweeping perspective, something Darwin could never have imagined. He wrote his ideas presented his ideas, which he had written down in the mountains of Switzerland and Germany. He wrote them down in his major book, Thus Spake Zarathustra. Of course, Nietzsche's Zarathustra. And what did Nietzsche say? Well, as I told you, he said that our species is not fixed. It will change. It will evolve into these overbeings with superior intellects, far superior to the intellect that we have that we see in Homo sapiens today. He also thought that the universe is a circle in time, that the universe had an origin, it evolved, it will come to an end, and then it will begin again. He called this colossal idea the eternal recurrence of the same, that the universe will return forever in exactly the same way, without a beginning and without an end, to this sequence of finite, absolutely identical cycles. It was a fantastic idea. It meant that everything that has existed before exists now, and everything that exists now will exist in the future, including Nietzsche himself. So in a way, his concept of the eternal recurrence is a form of immortality for everything, because everything that has existed exists now, and everything that exists now will exist in the future, including our species. So there's no end to this cycle, this circle of evolution. That is the philosophical perspective of evolution as presented by Nietzsche. There is an interesting theological intelligence represented by the Jesuit priest Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who was, like Nietzsche, interested in the future, and he focused on consciousness. Now, for this Jesuit priest, the universe is spiritual. Everything ultimately is a product of spirit, and spirit has been evolving, particularly for Teilhard, on the earth. First, there was matter. Matter evolved into life. Life has evolved into thought. And Teilhard thought that thought will continue to evolve to an end point, which he called the omega point. Because for Teilhard, our species is special. It differs in kind, not merely in degree from the apes. Now, Darwin thought we differed only in degree from the apes. Nietzsche, of course, would have thought the same. Nothing special about us. For Friedrich Nietzsche, nothing spiritual. For Teilhard, we are a spiritual being, and we will keep evolving collectively on the earth. Intelligence, for Teilhard de Chardin, is collecting as our species converges and involutes on the finite sphericity of planet Earth, moving ever closer to an end point. And this end point, as I said, he called the omega point. And for Teilhard, a personal God originated the universe, is guiding the universe, directing it to this final end when a collective humankind, in terms of intelligence, unites with God at this omega point. So there you have three different views of intelligence: the scientific view by Darwin, the philosophical view by Nietzsche, the theological view by Teilhard. Now, one thing that is interesting is that all three thinkers interested in intelligence saw our species ending on this planet. Neither Darwin, nor Nietzsche, nor Teilhard de Chardin ever imagined that Homo sapiens would leave the Earth and go into outer space. They never imagined there could be such a thing as artificial intelligence, the outgrowth of human intelligence in terms of science and technology. All three thinkers saw our species ending on this planet. Now, Teilhard died in 1955. But during the final years of his life, there was a thinker in England, Alan Turing, who was interested in numbers. He was interested in logic. He was interested in mathematics. He was interested in machines. His genius was important in helping to end World War II, that is, defeating the Nazis as a result of his breaking their secret codes. But Turing thought, if the evolution of machines continues, that there would be machine intelligence, that machines could solve problems like human beings solve problems. Now, he never lived long enough to contribute to the study of life elsewhere in the universe, to the exploration of galaxies, to the spreading of Homo sapiens to other planets and to other moons. He never envisioned this. He didn't live, as I said, long enough, but he did create artificial intelligence in his computers that he designed, first for code breaking, and then, of course, for solving other problems. It would be interesting if he were still alive today, or if he had continued to live, what contributions would Alan Turing have made to artificial intelligence? Now, if we take a look at the history of our species, it began about 2 million years ago with Homo habilis, existing in Africa, evolving there, getting through time a bigger and better, that is, a larger brain. There were other fossil hominids, but they became extinct. It was Homo habilis that survived and gave rise to Homo sapiens. Why? Because Homo habilis was intelligent. Homo habilis used sticks and stones and bones to create tools or weapons in order to adapt to a dangerous environment. Because as the jungles or rainforests disappeared, Homo habilis spread out into the open woodlands and onto the grassy savannas, and Homo habilis had to protect itself. With the emergence of Homo sapiens, we even have a larger and more complex brain. And eventually, the origin of abstract thought, including logic and mathematics and ideas, which helped the early humans to survive and to live in societies, eventually creating symbolic language as articulate speech, giving rise to Homo sapiens of today. Now, with the continuous evolution of science and technology and the emergence of artificial intelligence, intelligence free from the human brain, what might occur? Could there be a conflict between human intelligence and artificial intelligence, realizing, ironically, that human intelligence gave rise to artificial intelligence. A magnificent science fiction film, 2001: A Space Odyssey, deals with intelligence and artificial intelligence. And in this movie, as a group of human beings, scientists on Discovery 1 travel from the moon to Jupiter, their ship is controlled by artificial intelligence. This artificial intelligence is represented by HAL 9000, the supercomputer. Now, the interesting thing is, this supercomputer is curious, and no one on the ship realizes that the supercomputer knows that they are going to Jupiter in order to meet extraterrestrial beings, that is, extraterrestrial intelligences. It had been programmed into this computer by scientists on Earth, but the astronauts don't know this. Being curious and being jealous of human beings with their intelligence, the computer wants to get to Jupiter itself and meet these intelligent beings. It's curious, but this artificial intelligence is deceitful. It lies about the ship having a computer problem. It lies with one of the astronauts who is playing a chess game, and the computer wins the chess game because it lies to Frank Poole, one of the two major astronauts. Well, the computer murders Frank Poole. So there's just Dave Bowman on the ship and HAL, the computer, the artificial intelligence. 3 other astronauts are in suspended animation, which the computer murders. So here we have a conflict in the future between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Interestingly enough, Frank Poole, the astronaut that was murdered by the computer, was a chess player, very analytically, you could say scientifically oriented. Dave Bowman is the artist. So in this film, the artist wins. It is the artist who is able to perform a frontal lobotomy on the supercomputer, reducing it merely to functions that will keep the spaceship operating, but the computer lost its self-consciousness. When the ship gets to Jupiter, Dave Bowman takes a cosmic trip, and at the end of the cosmic trip finds himself in a room, like a cage, being observed by the extraterrestrials, and eventually he himself is transformed into a star child that is a superior entity that will continue to evolve, we assume, although we're never told if there are other star children in the universe. Presumably, yes. So in this conflict between human intelligence and artificial intelligence, human intelligence won, at least this time. Now, if genetic engineering, along with nanotechnology, continues to manipulate organisms, it's possible that scientists will be able to create a superior human being of a different species, so different from us biologically and intellectually that it represents a new species which I have called Homo futurensis. Artificial technology can enhance the human being. It can give it greater health, greater intelligence. It can prolong its lifespan indefinitely. So we will become a product of biology and technology. We could evolve ourselves into this Homo futurensis being, which is far superior to us, and it could evolve itself into what I have called a cosmic overbeing, some creature that is godlike, quasi-immortal, which can leave the earth and explore the universe, populating moons and planets, and maybe, and here's a very provocative and perhaps frightening idea, our descendants, thousands of years from now, maybe will meet artificial intelligences elsewhere in this universe, elsewhere in the Milky Way galaxy. One can't even imagine what might happen if our intelligence, as artificial intelligence in the future, meets other intelligence somewhere in this universe. To conclude, our planetary species might become a galactic species, evolving among the stars alone or with other intelligences that were already there. Another possibility is, like most of the plants and animals that have ever existed on the earth, our species might become extinct. There's no way of knowing now whether we will be endlessly successful or somewhere along the line in our human future or our beyond human future, our descendants will become extinct. Thank you. Oh, it's
Dobra, what should they say? They can cut.
Yeah.
They can cut.
We never thought about ending it. Can we end it just by going here and
Yes,
go?
but, here.